Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great today. Sincere apologies, you're still gonna put up with my telephone videos, all right? In no time, I'm gonna be done with this trip and then return to base so we can have our usual high quality, high definition video. But what matters the most to me is the information. As long as you can hear me all right and you can see me all right, I think it actually just does it for me. All right. So not long ago, just a few days ago, actually, while on this trip still, I made a video and I told us about a whole lot. I said so much, especially with respect to the massacre, the Crocus massacre that happened in Russia. And then I touched on Senegal, and I told us how that the political dynamics in Senegal was about to change. Before I made that video, I had already made a post on my Twitter handle, now X, yeah? And the post I made there, of course, detailed every single thing that has now happened today. For people who follow me on X, formerly Twitter, you must have read that post and you must have seen that every single thing that I predicted in that post is what has happened. Diomaye Faye, the 44-year-old young Senegalese guy who was supposed to be the deputy to Sonko, is now the one that is the president of this beautiful nation of Africa. I told you to watch out, that if care is not taken, Senegal, I told you, was in play. And that if care was not taken, that Senegal was going to come into the basket of those African nations that are saying goodbye to the colonial powers. It doesn't always have to be military. We know that the Sahel brothers all came through military coup, right? But it doesn't always have to be that way. This was a political dimension to the revolution that is taking place on the continent of Africa, supported by our now new big brother, Russia. You have no idea what is happening. I said to people most of the time, if you want to understand your environment, if you want to understand your world, if you want to understand even your own self, you have to put sentiment aside and pursue knowledge. Wherever knowledge goes, pursue it there. Inside a hole, pursue it there. Seek after the truth, and you will never go wrong. Me, I don't have any permanent friend or permanent enemy. No. The moment I see you drifting away from the truth, you're my enemy. The moment I see you coming close to the truth and reality and decency and morality, you become my friend. That's how I live my life. I won't say, oh, all for one, one for all. I don't care. That works for me only when we have the same kind of ideology. If your ideology is totally different from mine and is even antagonistic to mine, I'm not going to do all for one and one for all with you. What have we been crying for on the continent of Africa? We've been crying for freedom. We've been crying for partnership. But the Western world, the colonial powers, have refused all these years because in their mind, they believe that we are slaves. We were born to be slaves. That we should never, ever have any chance to come up to the table, that we must be under the table and eat their crumbs. Faye was supposed to be, if they had not charged Sonko with whatever crime they charged him with and banned him from contesting presidential election in Senegal, Sonko was going to be this man now. It was going to be him. He is a trillion times more popular than Faye. Faye was just under the guy to be deputy. These are the young revolutionaries that were tired and fed up with the things that they have seen the colonial powers do to their country. pretty much like every other African country. Out of nowhere, the French-backed, Western-funded regime in Senegal suddenly began to arrest people. The same old tricks that they've always deployed whenever they find themselves in a fix, whenever they see themselves boxed in a corner, they start arresting, throwing people in jail as if they're going to stay in power forever. They did that to them. Put all of them. The guy that became president right now just was released from jail only a few weeks ago. And when he was released from jail, knowing that he was no longer going to be able to contest, Sonko told all his followers to immediately throw their weight behind Faye, who was supposed to be his VP, since they have now banned him from contesting presidential election. He's been freed from jail, but the law now says he can't contest. Why? Because they traced during the last elections. They said they traced, according to them, they found out that Russia was sponsoring Sonko. Because they knew that Sonko was one of those people who hated the activities of the colonial power France in their country. They saw that Sonko was at the forefront of getting rid of this wickedness, this colonial enslavement, this neo-colonial satanism that has been going on all over Africa. They said they found out that Russia was sponsoring him. So in order to make sure he doesn't come anywhere close to the seat of power, they made sure that they didn't just jail him, they banned him from ever contesting for the office of the president. So when they were released, both him and the Faye that just became president, when they were released, he now told these guys, you know what, I am free now, but I can't contest. So what you need to do is, Faye is my own. We are on the same platform. We are, on the same page, pretty much on everything. So what you need to do is, let's get him elected so that we can boot out all these old cargoes that have always been used by the colonial forces against us. And the people just moved in hordes and they threw their weight behind. And they were not just throwing their weight behind fight, they were ready for war. They were ready to fight, to reclaim their mandate from these generational demons that have held Africa bound for so many years. Look at, you say Russia is sponsoring. Can you see the kind of person, let's say Russia is sponsoring. Can you see the kind of people that Russia is sponsoring? Look at the Sahel brothers, most of them young men. Now look at another one, young. And these people are coming with the mandate to redeem the time, to redeem their nations. This is what we need in Africa. That's why in my video, I told us clearly, without any fear of contradictions, that we have found a big brother in Russia. If Faye stays the course and make sure he keeps the promise he made to the people and recognizes the fact that the uprising that brought him to where he is, the mandate that gave him power today, wants a change. If he stays to that promise, if he stays true to it and stays the course, you will see what will happen. I told you, I'm sure the Sahel brothers are rejoicing now because they have been very interested in Senegal to see what is going to come out. Now it has happened. And the same guy who has the so-called connection with Russia, which I even believe, he has won. So now you are going to begin to see elements of partnership rather than enslavement in Senegal, just like we have seen it in Mali, in Niger, in Burkina Faso. The colonial powers are gone. They are finished. I'm telling you today, if you are African, whether you are a president or you are intending to become a president, hear what I say to you today. We have a very rare opportunity, in our lifetime to take back our collective destinies from the shackles of colonial enslavement once and for all. The colonials do not believe that you have any right to exist as a free man or woman. They believe you should be a slave in perpetuity. And Africans have grown up to see that originally we were created and born to be kings and queens. But we see ourselves walking on barefoot on the continent of our birth. The land that is so filled and so rich with milk and honey, yet we don't know what milk tastes like. We don't know what honey tastes like. We can only go to pick crumbs in the Western world where the people who have destroyed our motherland are residing. How long shall we cry at the foot of these mountains? Isn't it time that we said enough is enough? I want to tell you something. You know, before Libya became the toast of nations that it became, before Libya became the first world country in Africa that it became, Libya was regarded as the poorest nation on the continent of Africa. Yes, go and ask, go and do your research, read history. Because what they are doing to Nigeria, what they are doing to all these African nations is what they were doing to Libya at that time. When Gaddafi is even life expectancy, you can read everything I'm telling you, it's out there. The history is open, it's out there. The life expectancy in Libya was at an abysmal level, low. There was nothing attractive about Libya. You know why? Because all the wealth, oil wealth that the nation had was going to the colonial powers, the Europeans, who, like I said, do not believe that you as an African has the right to become a king. They believe that your place in perpetuity is the place of slavery under the table where crumbs are in abundance. When Gaddafi came in, he said, no, it's not going to happen again. Gaddafi nationalized the oil wealth of Libya. And the oil wealth of Libya began to work for the Libyans. And the Libyans who were at the bottom of the barrel suddenly realized that they were all along supposed to be at the top of the mountain. They were supposed to be in the penthouse, not in the basement. Every Libyan of age who wanted to get married had money from the government, had an apartment from the government. You were paid money just because you were a Libyan as part of the royalties, the benefits that come from the resources that God blessed your land with. I went to school, New York Film Academy, with a white guy from Alaska, Dave, my very good friend. We were even roommates. And one day Dave told me, oh, my son is coming around. He wants to buy a new guitar. It's about $1,750. I think I want to take him to go withdraw money from his account. I said, wow, your son is rich. He said, of course, he's Alaskan. Every Alaskan child gets money every month. They get paid because of the oil in Alaska. They get paid a certain amount of money. Go to Niger Delta in Nigeria. Go to Niger Delta in Nigeria. Go to locations in Africa where the colonials are still active today. You will see how that the people are dying. People don't even, when you even put them on a plane to fly from one state to another, they feel like they are in heaven. This is something that if they were ready to nationalize the oil wealth of Nigeria, even if we were 500 million people, we will have enough money to pay every single Nigerian every month, enough money to keep them and their families happy, with even if they didn't work much. That's the amount of money that is in Nigeria. That's how much money Nigeria has. But I have asked this question multiple times. Go to your Bureau of Statistics and tell them to come clean and tell you how much royalty is the colonial power paying to our country from the natural resources on our soil. You will see what they will tell you. You will have stomach ache for a few days to come. You will probably lose your mind. Africa is in bondage. we have been looking for a power. That's why when I see activism and people who are trying to, I want freedom, I laugh at you, because how do you get freedom? Freedom is not by going to protest and going to do all those things that you people are doing. No, that's not, okay, you want to go and get freedom, and you go to UN, you go to ICJ to get freedom, but the people who are holding you down own ICJ, they own IMF, they own World Bank, they own United Nations, they own, mention any organization you want to go and beg for freedom. The people who are holding you down that you want to be free from are the ones who own the same organizations. The enemy of your enemy should be your friend. Somebody who is an enemy to your own enemy should be your friend. That's how you make friends, strategically. If you want to have strategic friendship, look for someone who is an avowed enemy of your own enemy. Get close to them, embrace them. Number 6, I have been praying all my life. Father God, give us an enemy of our enemy. Give us a big brother who has what it takes to help us. Because I have weighed it. I have done a proper, thorough research, and I have looked at Africa, and I have seen there's no way on earth that Africans can do it on their own. We could not have been able to until God brought Russia. How did he give us Russia? By making them to go and start a fight with Russia. If I tell you now that Russia is the escape route that we have in Africa, you will think I'm being partisan. What's my business with partisan politics? I'm only telling you truth. If there is any party that is called Truth, yeah? Truth People's Party, that's where I belong. In fact, I'm probably the chairman of that party. I'm telling you the reality. Truth is what you're hearing right now. That Russia is the only hope of the African nation. Today, I declare it, go and put me anywhere, anytime. I have a video coming up. I'm going to do it very soon so you can see. Russia has told us, has opened and shown us a black Jesus. I've been wanting to do this video to show people that the church that Vladimir Putin goes to is not a white Jesus that is there, is a black Jesus. The same Vladimir Putin has said that Africans shouldn't just be learning Russian language, that Russians also need to learn African languages. And they bring Africans to teach them our language. Equal partnership. They are not ready to lord it over you and tell you, oh, you must do this. No, you must do it this way. They don't do that. Check the history of Russia. Look at what is happening in Mali. They're about to build one of the most impressive structures you've ever seen, and it's going to be a gold refinery. It never showed up there. It had never happened in all the years that this, for colonial France, has been stealing from these guys. We need revolutionaries across Africa. We need revolutionaries. If you are a politician and you're trying to come to power, you need to understand the basis on which you have to come to power. You need to know that there is a wave of change. There is a wind of change blowing across the length and breadth of Mother Africa. Our mom says, I have had enough. I am tired of being raped. I am tired of being ripped apart. I am tired of being ravaged. I am tired of being plundered. Mama say, I've had enough. Enough. As you can see, the land of Africa is literally rising against these workers of iniquity. And you, if you're coming to assume the position of power and you don't plug into this frequency of change, you will fall. The land will reject you. The people will reject you. God and man will reject you. We have suffered enough. I prayed a prayer many years ago. I said, God, one of the greatest things you do for me is to make Africa rise up in my lifetime. Then I will die a very happy man. And it's happening before my eyes. It's happening before my eyes. I told you to watch out for Senegal. After Senegal, I say DRC. That's why some people call me political prophet. I don't even know if I am, but I'm telling you, this is not like, oh, God said, thus said the Lord. No, you see the thing, you follow the dynamics, you follow the thing, you connect the dots, and you see it happen. You see it happen. Faye, 44-year-old. 44-year-old. Brilliant. God is going to help him. I will do everything within my power to support that young man in any little or big way that I can. As long as he stands on that platform of change, because this is why the youths poured in to throw their weight behind him. Everybody has had enough. We've had enough. Look at UAE. Look at Qatar. Look at these small Gulf nations. The same oil they have is what we have in Africa. But look, they are so big, they are even denying us visa. Africa, Nigeria denied visa to UAE, to Dubai. They deny us visa. They do shakara for us. But what they have, we have it in excess. Yet we live like paupers. And the colonials could care less. That's why they're fighting Russia, man. I told you, the last video I made, I had so many secrets I wanted to say, and I was battling with stuff. If you watch me, find out that I will talk and I will stop, and I will talk, I will stop. Too many things. I can't say everything that I know. But this is why they are fighting Russia. This is why they want, what they just did to Russia? I've explained this in one of my videos before. What Russia is doing to this guy, Russia is literally, it's not only that Russia is bankrupting them in Africa, because Africa is their economic powerhouse. Russia is now taking that powerhouse away from them, but not only that, Russia is killing these people by not responding to their provocations. There have been many provocations from these guys so that Russia can engage them directly, but Russia always refuses to engage, always resists the temptation. That's why they are freaking out. Anything it will take, even if it means going to drop a little bomb on the roof over Vladimir Putin, they will do it because they need him to come out and engage so that they can fight. Because they want to destroy the Russian Federation. Russian Federation right now is the only beacon of hope for the common man, especially the common man in Africa. I'm telling you, you can see it with your eyes. You can see. You see what they're doing with BRICS? You see what they're doing with BRICS? I've shown you all these things. I say things repeatedly so that it gets sunken deep down into your mind, so you never forget it. In the dark recesses of your subconscious mind, you will see it resting there. These guys want to destroy Russia because Russia is completely destroying and dismantling their structure of control. How can Vladimir Putin make that historic exposure that I'm going to make a full video on in the next week or two? Maybe in the next week, actually. The black Jesus, the disciples were black. In the book of Revelation, they say his hair is wool. That's why for the past how many years, I don't deal with anything that has to do with white Jesus, because these demons came around and wanted to make us believe they are the ones that are gods. Jesus, white, their roots is occultism. I post some videos for you to wake you up, to get you thinking. And I don't say anything about those videos. I don't say anything with them. I want you to go do your own research and let this thing challenge you to think. Their roots is Satanism. That's from where they came. Deception, lying, giving you Jesus as white, knowing that Jesus was actually black. But today, Vladimir Putin is exposing that grand secret. Vladimir Putin is telling Africans, showing them that, look, you have what it takes to take your freedom away from these guys. We're seeing it happen. So he's waking Africans up and he's backing them. Remember the last broadcast he made, I think before the election, and I've been saying this in most of my videos, but he actually said it with his mouth. You can go check it out. Okay? Putin said, France is angry with us probably because of what is happening in Africa. And you see how he gently said it. He said that, no, it's not really us. We are not the ones. These countries are the ones calling us for help. They come to us for help, for freedom, and we give them the freedom. Is this not an interesting time to be alive? I told you, that's why France is about to die, because they want to finish with France. Then they will face the Anglophone ones, the British colonies. One by one, all these colonies will pull out, and they are not going to pull out so that Russia will become the colonial power. No, Russia is ready for partnership. If you want to know whether I'm lying or not, go and check the Sahel brothers and see the kind of partnership deal they're having with Russia. Russia is not here to tell you, you be my footmat and I step on you every day. Whatever I say you do, this, that. No, they want partnership. What is wrong with us identifying with the truth? What is wrong with the truth? You hear the truth, and yet you're arguing with the truth. How? Why? That's why they want to destroy the Russian Federation. So this thing they just did now is taking their provocative acts to the next level. To the next level. I don't advise Putin. I don't, some people have called me intelligence officer for Putin. Initially they said this was for America when I was supporting Trump then. And now they said I'm KGB officer. I'm not, but I wish I was. I wish I was advising Putin. I wish there's a way he gets to see anything that I post. I would say to him, you have a winning way. Your winning way is holding back. Your winning way is restraint, holding back and resisting the temptation to react when they want you to react. That's your winning way. If you can hold on to that, you have scored another point. Everybody right now wants you to react. Even if you react, you know what direction to react. Yeah? But the other larger provocation they're looking for, resist it and continue decapitating them low-key in Africa and elsewhere. That's my advice to Putin. And I hope and believe that this is what he's going to do. And let me tell you this. Do not underestimate the extent to which the forces of darkness would go to resist the change that is happening in Africa. This is the only way they have known to stay afloat. The only way they have known to be rich, to be first world, has been to keep Africa at the bottom. The only way. There's no other way they've known. Their forefathers lived off of this. They came and met it, and they are living off of it. To take it away from them means you're going to be ready for the battle of the Titans. And that battle, no matter how much evil, no matter how much Vlad resists it, He will eventually still have to do it. Because they won't stop. Otherwise, they're just going to watch themselves like this perish. The guys are sinking before our eyes. They are all sinking and dying. So they can't accept that. What are all those weapons they've been amassing all these years for? They're going to put them to use. And Vlad is not going to sit down and just wait and watch. Yeah. And that's what brings us to the scary conclusion of World War III. To me, I feel like it's inevitable. I feel like every action that Putin takes now is just pushing it further and further away, because the people on the other side are never going to quit. They're not going to stop, because every minute they waste, every second that passes by, they are losing territories, they are losing their destinies, they are losing their means of livelihood. Senegal just went in. More are coming. So they want a fight by all means. They will provoke even further. They will. But if you're sensible and you're African, I plead with you, please wake up from reality. Pull away from partisan politics. Follow after the truth. Do your own research. Read, research, and learn and know for yourself. Stay away from mainstream media. I am telling you this as a brother. Stay away from mainstream media. They are all part of the axis of evil that I have vowed that Africa will never rise up. And so, may the Lord help all of us. May the Lord protect and preserve his own all over the world, especially on the continent of Africa. It's why I keep telling people all road leads to Africa nowadays, except if you haven't quite seen what is going on. All road leads to Africa. God bless you, man.